We're just a few weeks away from the upcoming 8th season of American Horror Story, and to celebrate the coming apocalypse, we've decided to showcase the most disturbing, horrific, and vile characters from the entire anthology series. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our American Horror Story breakdowns for Season 8, starting on September 13th. Warning guys, this video is going to be extremely graphic, and it will be filled with a ton of spoilers over the 7 seasons of American Horror Story. In order to make this a little bit harder, we're also only going to select one character for each of the 7 seasons.
Bend them to thy will, shed their blood.
Let's start off in Season 1 with Tate Langdon, who is Murder House's most horrific character. That's saying a lot because the house and season is filled with a ton of appalling humans and ghosts. Tate Langdon made headlines for committing a mass shooting at Westfield High, ending the lives of 15 innocent students. This was after he had already set his mother's then boyfriend on fire. He continued the spree in the afterlife when he killed a gay couple that moved into the murder house. Then when the Harmons showed up, he dressed up in a rubber suit, pretended to be Ben Harmon, and raped Ben's wife, Vivian. Unfortunately for us all, a child was conceived, Michael Langdon, who appears to be the actual f***ing Antichrist. More on him later. The second season of Asylum featured a handful of monstrous characters, like the serial killer Bloodyface and the actual devil. Satan is too easy of a pick, so our pick is this guy, Dr. Arthur Arden. Not only was Dr. Arden, also known as Hans Gruber, a known Nazi torture doctor and war criminal, but he also conducted unspeakable experiments on the Briarcliff Manor patients. Arden's ultimate goal was to create the next step in human evolution, but actually ended up creating a bunch of zombie-like creatures called raspers that lived in the surrounding forests. If that wasn't enough, he never used an anesthetic. Are you kidding me? There is perhaps no more horrific character in all of American Horror Story than Madame Delphine LaLaurie. She was an extremely racist New Orleans socialite who killed and tortured her slaves.
Why? Why are you doing this to us?
Because I can.
Throughout the course of the season, we see her kill a child and use its blood to keep her skin looking youthful, as well as lock up and beat Marie Laveau's lover Bastien to near death before transforming him into a minotaur. Even more unsettling, the Coven character is based off a real person. Twisty the Clown might be one of the most memorable characters throughout the course of the series. We were first introduced to Twisty in Freak Show, and apparently his murders became so famous that the tales were eventually retold in the comics we saw in present-day Cult. Legend has it that Twisty was an extremely popular attraction at Rusty's Westchester Traveling Carnival in the early 1940s. But some jealous carnival freaks spread some horrible rumors about him, leaving him out of work. Coupled with the death of his mother, Twisty blew off his lower jaw with a shotgun in an attempted suicide. To cover up his disfigured face, Twisty put on that iconic wide-smiling prosthetic mask. Then, instead of entertaining children with balloon tricks, he took it upon himself to save them from their parents. In other words, he kidnapped them. Sure, it might have started out as accidental murders, but Twisty soon became a straight-up serial killer. Yet another performance by Evan Peters, James March. The serial killer kicked off his sadistic career in the 1920s, and then he built the Hotel Cortez as a means of covering it all up. He took way too much satisfaction in finding creative ways to torture, dismember, and kill the hotel's guests. March even had sex with their dead bodies and stored their remains in an underground dungeon. As with Madame LaLaurie, it's likely that March too was based on a real person. Herman Mudgett, aka H.H. Holmes, was a known serial killer who opened up a hotel in Chicago that was designed to murder people. It's thought that he killed as many as 250 people, but admitted to 27 murders before being formally charged with only 9. When it comes to Season 6, we had to pick Roanoke's main antagonist, the Butcher, whose real name is Thomasin White, and was the leader of the lost colony of Roanoke. She was banished from the colony and left for dead in the woods, only to be saved by the witch Scathach. White exchanged her soul for a raw pig heart, regained her strength, and returned to the camp, slaughtering nearly everyone. The Butcher continued to murder innocent men, women, and children in order to appease the ancient deities on the land. Eventually, she offered her own life to Scathach, thus completing the Dark Sacrament. Now, every October or blood moon on the very same land where the Roanoke house was built, the Butcher and her colony returned to murder the living in order to keep their blood pact. We met some of her victims throughout the season, including Edward Philippe Mott, the Chen family, and Miranda and Bridget Jane. Kai Anderson is probably the least deserving on this list that is made up of rapists, serial killers, and mass murderers. But make no mistake, he's still a horrible human being. He's a racist, misogynistic sociopath who becomes inspired by Donald Trump's 2016 presidential win, so much so that he becomes leader of an extremist political movement within the fictional Michigan town. His cult instills fear in the entire community, first by bullying people with some creepy clown masks, and then by outright murdering people. Kai is also obsessed with history's most infamous cult leaders, and we soon find out that his ultimate goal is to murder 100 pregnant women in one night. Oh, and he also tried to conceive a child with his sister, forever ruining this legendary All for One song.
I swear by the moon and the stars and the
What the f*** is this?
Language, sister. This is a holy space now. And this is a holy song now.
Extremely frightening. I know. That brings us to the upcoming 8th season of American Horror Story. Of course, we don't know who will be the most horrific character by season's end, but we can make some guesses. The best choice? Michael Langdon, the demonic offspring of a human and a ghost from Murder House. How's that even possible? I have no idea, but supposedly this kid will bring the end of days, hence the title, Apocalypse.
A child born of human and spirit will usher in the end of times. It is the essence of evil.
Remember back to season 1, while still inside Vivian's pregnant stomach, Michael developed a taste for raw animal organs, including livers and brains. And even the sight of Vivian's ultrasound forced a nurse to quit her job and go find God. From what we know, he's already killed at least one more person, that poor nanny when he was just a toddler.
Now what am I gonna do with you?
It sure sounds like there will be a handful of horrific characters returning for Apocalypse, like Tate Langdon, the Coven Witches, and quite possibly Madame LaLaurie. Let us know your predictions in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed to this channel because we will be breaking down every single episode starting September 13th. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.